Naruto is currently 10 years old. It was the middle of July when Naruto left Earth Country for Whirlpool Kingdom. It was the beginning of August when he finally reached Whirlpool's border. He summoned an army of 2,000 shadow clones, told them to stay out of sight while he had them travel the countryside. Naruto traveled further into his kingdom. It was a couple hours until he saw his first village. By the looks of it, the people were definitely living a hard life. He just hoped that it wasn't like this for every place the people were living. He continued on, promising to himself to help his people as soon as possible. Over the hours, more of his clones were dismissing themselves, and he found out why it was called Whirlpool Kingdom. Surrounding the entire coast were whirlpools about a mile out. He also received the location of what he assumed was the capital. He was also saddened at the fact that not too many other places were faring better than the village he saw. After another couple hours of travel, he arrived at the capital. He could see that a good portion of it was intact or had been rebuilt already. He made his way to the largest building he could see, assuming it was the royal palace. Oddly enough, it didn't have any damage at all from what he could see. It was midday and the people were still out as he walked through the streets. The people were eyeing him cautiously and started following him. By the time he arrived in front of the palace, he could see that there was no damage at all. He eyed the gates and was broke from his thoughts by someone speaking who looked to be the eldest among the crowd. "I don't know who you are, child, but if you plan on going in there, then think again. The royal palace is not only guarded by us, but the palace is surrounded by seals that only allow the royal family or anyone they allow to enter," spoke the old man. Okawa-san failed to mention that the place was protected by seals, but that would explain how it survived the invasion, and that also means nothing has been stolen, Naruto thought as he approached the gate. A blood seal plus a few other seals. The place isn't as advanced as the seals protecting the Namikaze compound, so I'll have to update it before I leave, as well as add more seals. If you need a place to stay the night, I have a room for you as long as you don't cause trouble, the old man said. "Thank you, but that won't be necessary," Naruto said, then bit his thumb and wiped his blood on the seal. The old man's eyes, along with everyone else's, widened as they watched the seal that protected the royal family's home light up. Then they heard an unlocking noise. The old man nearly had a heart attack when he watched the child open the gate. "Who or why you?" the man asked. Naruto looked at him and the rest of the people in the crowd. He saw the shocked faces upon each of the adults and the confusion among the children who didn't know what just happened. "At first light tomorrow, I want a group of you to go and inform the people around the kingdom to gather in the capital at the end of the week at noon. There I shall tell you who I am and what I have planned for the future of this kingdom." And with that, Naruto walked in and closed the gate behind him. The townspeople quickly left with hope in their hearts. Naruto looked at his home in his kingdom. It was 3 stories and about the same length as the main house back in Konoha. There were statues of the previous kings in huge gardens to his left and right. The grounds needed to be fixed up as well, with overgrown grass and weeds everywhere. He walked up to the door of the palace and put blood on that seal as well. He waited for a few seconds, then opened the door. When he walked in, he saw steps to his left and right that led up to the next floor, where a painting of his grandparents, the former king and queen, and his mother about his age was hung on display. He created 200 clones and ordered them to explore and clean up the place. He walked back outside to explore the grounds while his clones cleaned the house. He created more clones when he found the shed and ordered them to clean up. He found a training ground in the back, as well as a male and female side onsen and a smaller onsen for private use. There were even swings and slides and other toys for children. He decided to relax in the onsen while the clones cleaned up everything. He started to think of what he planned to do from the things he's seen so far and how the people would react once he tells them who he is. From the looks of the people who saw what happened earlier, he didn't think there'd be much trouble. After about 2 hours, he received the memories of his clones that they were finished. He learned that there was a basement, which was where the clan library was, and the 2nd and 3rd floors were all bedrooms. He redressed and went to bed for the day. When he woke up, he headed to the throne room where the king would entertain guests, but more importantly was where the sword was that would make him king. As he walked through the palace to the throne room, he praised his clones. I sure know how to clean up a place," he thought. When he reached the doors that led to the throne room, he pushed them open and walked in. He saw more paintings along the walls and 2 thrones in front of him. But what caught his eye was the most beautiful sword he had ever seen. It was stabbed in a stone. I know King Arthur but couldn't think of anything else, and noticed there was no sheath for it. The hilt was shaped as a dragon with the blade coming out of its mouth. To see a pic, check my profile. Credit goes to Shinte-chan for the awesome design. When he approached it, he slowly wrapped his left hand around it. He gripped it tightly and pulled it slowly out of the stone. When it was fully out, he could finally appreciate its true beauty and its power. After a few swings, he sealed it into the seal he drew after he woke up on his left wrist. It was only 3 days till he made his announcement, so he decided to train while sending clones to the library to collect any jutsu he didn't already have, especially the ones dealing with sub-elements. The day finally arrived. Naruto, dressed in black Anbu-style pants, dark blue shirt with a Chunin-style vest over that with his scrolls, shuriken and kunai pouches tied to his legs and strapping his mother's kodachis to his lower back. He left the palace and headed toward the gate. Once he arrived, he saw a crowd of people outside. He opened the gates and he walked to the center of the capital with the people following him. Once he arrived, he saw a stage and thousands of people there. He stepped onto the stage and the people quieted down. Thank you for coming. I'm sure many of you are wondering what is going on, and if you let me finish my story, I promise you I will answer any questions. As some of you may remember, during the Third Great Shinobi World War, the kingdom of Whirlpool was attacked by both Iwa and Kumo. The royal family fought against the attackers to give time for the people to escape. They put up a great fight, but even with their bloodline there were simply too many enemies. So one by one they fell, knowing that at least they made sure the people lived. Now many of you believe that the entire royal family was killed, but that is not true. One member survived, and that person was Uzumaki Kushina, the royal princess. She was able to flee the country with dreams of rebuilding it. She fled to Konoha, where she joined their forces and became a powerful kunoichi, and she slowly fell in love with a man named Namikaze Minato. Each became famous under the titles Konoha's Red Death and Konoha's Yellow Flash. The man eventually became the Yondaime Hokage, and the two got married shortly thereafter. She told Minato of her past and he pledged to help her however he could. Then Kushina found out that she was pregnant with a boy. She and Minato were very excited at starting a family. They had to keep their marriage and her pregnancy a secret, though, to protect them from their enemies. Only their closest friends knew. They decided to name their child Naruto, the main character from Minato's sensei's first book. But the happiness was not to last for long, as evil men were planning something terrible. They traveled to the greatest of the Biju Kyuubi no Yoko's den, where they attacked her and forced her to attack Konoha. As the Yondaime received news of more of his ninja dying, he knew there was only one way to defeat Kyuubi. So after a lengthy fight with Kushina, they agreed to induce her pregnancy 3 weeks early. With their son born, the family spent a few minutes together before he left with his son in his arms toward Kyuubi. You see, there is only one way to defeat a Biju, and that is by sealing it. But a being as powerful as the Kyuubi would require the strongest of containers, and ironically the strongest of containers that can contain a being such as Kyuubi is a newborn baby that can adapt to the Biju's chakra. But that is only half the problem. The other half is a seal that is strong enough to contain it inside the container. So with great regret and sadness, the Yondaime summoned the Shinigami, who along with his own seals sealed the Kyuubi into his newborn son at the cost of his life. With the deal done and the Kyuubi now sealed into his son, he was told by his closest friends that his wife and mother of his child had died shortly after he left due to complications from birth. With the thought that his son was now going to grow up without his parents, he made his final wish for his son to be seen a hero for stopping the Kyuubi, and then left to join Kushina in the afterlife. But the villagers and shinobi did not honor his wish. They only saw the boy as the Kyuubi reborn. They demanded his death, so the Sandaime passed a law forbidding anyone speaking of the Kyuubi sealed into the boy, but that did not stop them. They would hire assassins and would chase him and beat him as soon as he could walk. They would try to starve him to death, and if it wasn't for Kyuubi's healing powers, he would have died before his 5th birthday. The orphanage he lived at would make him sleep in a closet, then when it rained, sleep outside. They kicked him out on his 4th birthday, where he lived on the streets for 6 months before the Sandaime found out and got him the only apartment that would let him live there, in the slums. Then finally the day that changed his life appeared. It was his 5th birthday and the 5th anniversary of the Kyuubi's defeat. Naruto traveled outside wanting to have fun like everybody else, but this was not to happen. The people soon spotted him and chased him into a dead end. They approached the crying boy and started beating him, stabbing him with poisoned weapons and smashing his head against the wall till his skull cracked. Then finally, to end it, one ninja went through hand seals for a Kaden jutsu and set the boy on fire, where he finally passed out. When he woke up, he appeared in the seal where he met Kyuubi, who explained to him why the people hate him and the truth of why she attacked. He also met his parents with the help of the Shinigami. But even with Kyuubi's healing abilities, the boy was still dying. The injuries were just too much and the seal wouldn't allow any more of Kyuubi's chakra to leak through. So the Shinigami made an offer. He would alter the seal that would create a third bloodline for Naruto that would heal him from almost any attack. He'd even be able to regrow limbs and live a longer life than others. But instead of the seal finishing changing Kyuubi's chakra to his own at the age of 25, it would be finished on his 16th birthday. After agreeing to this, Naruto hugged his parents one last time. For the next year he trained in the Namikaze compound in secret with the help of Kyuubi. Then on his 6th birthday he left the village to travel the world and continue his training, vowing to rebuild his mother's kingdom and become the greatest Hokage Konoha has ever seen. He paused, looking at the crowd. He could see the shocked looks and the tears in their eyes. "My name is Namikaze Uzumaki Naruto. I am the son of Namikaze Minato and Uzumaki Kushina. I promise to each and every one of you that with your help I will rebuild the kingdom of Whirlpool and make my family and all of you proud of me, and I never break my promises." And with that he unsealed the sword of the king into his hand and held it up for all to see. They started cheering and chanting, "King Naruto," over and over. He slowly made his way through the crowd as he shook the hands of the men and was hugged by the women. He told them that he was planning on leaving to continue his training shortly after his 11th birthday, which was in 2 months, and help the people until then. He also told them to keep this a secret until he revealed himself to the world. They all swore on their life to their king. During the 2 months Naruto continued training with his clones and had his clones help the people as well. Buildings were built and fields of food were plentiful. He upgraded the seals on the royal palace as well as adding Fu's blood to the seal to allow her entrance. He celebrated his 11th birthday with the people, then he retired to his bed in the main bedroom when he appeared in his mindscape. He walked toward the house Kyuubi had added to the seal. He walked in and saw Kyuubi lying down on the couch. He walked over to her and lifted her head up before sitting down and resting her head on his lap. He smiled at her as he ran his hand through her hair. They had been doing these types of things a lot recently. He knew he had feelings for her and he was pretty sure she did as well. He wanted to kiss those soft red lips of hers so bad recently, but thought he was too young or she'd reject him or some other lame excuse. Screw it, he thought, and leaned down and captured her lips. Kyuubi was enjoying the sensations Naruto caused her, and all he did was things like run his hand through her hair. She was in love with him and would see a look in his eyes every now and then. She was broken out of her thoughts when she felt lips on her own. Her eyes snapped open and saw Naruto was kissing her. "OMG, he's kissing me. My first kiss and Naruto's kissing me," she thought. She calmed down and returned the kiss. He started to get more aggressive, licking her lips, making her moan and part her lips slightly, allowing his tongue to sneak in. He didn't know what he was doing, but he knew he liked it, and by the sounds she was making so was she. They battled their tongues for dominance until Naruto won and he ravaged her mouth. Her moans only encouraging him. After 5 minutes of the most pleasant thing either had experienced, they broke for air. He regained air and stared into her amazing ruby eyes. He put his hand on her cheek. "I love you, Q-chan. I've had feelings for you for a while now. You are my best friend and one of my precious people. I want to spend the rest of my life with you," he said. Kyuubi started crying as she hugged him and kissed him again. "I love you too, Naru-kun. I've loved you for so long. I want to spend the rest of my life with you. I want to have your kids. To spend so many first times with you. To tell you the truth, that was my first kiss, and what a kiss it was," she said and blushed at the end. Naruto just chuckled at her before he picked her up bridal style, heading to the bedroom where they laid down with her head on his chest. They fell asleep with happy dreams. Naruto left the next morning making sure he had everything he needed. He added another section to his mindscape to keep the scrolls he planned to bring with him from the library in the royal palace separate from the Namikaze library. When he left the gate and approached the exit of the capital, he saw a crowd of people. I promise to return, and when I do we can begin the real rebuilding of our country, he said to them. He noticed some tears from the children and he opened his arms and they ran to him, tackling him to the ground. Shish, it's okay. While I'm gone, get stronger to protect your precious people, and when I return you can help me rebuilding our home. The women along with Kyuubi looked on and smiled at the scene, thinking, he'll make a wonderful father, with some blushing and having nosebleeds, including Kyuubi. He finished the goodbyes and headed towards Lightning Country. Ready Koishi, he thought. Kyuubi smiled and thought back, ready Narukoi. Naruto traveled east and reached Rice Field Country within 2 weeks. He traveled through when he ran into 5 shinobi with a headband he didn't recognize. On the Hittite was a symbol of a music note. He eyed them before saying, "What do you want?" The apparent leader of the group spoke up, "We are looking for shinobi willing to join us and serve our master. He is a powerful man, and if you interest him he can grant you great power." Naruto thought for a second before saying, "Who is your so-called master? Also, I have never heard of a Hittite with a symbol like that. What is the name of your village?" The leader smirked before saying, "We serve the great Orochimaru-sama. He has created his own village here in Rice Field Country called Otogakure no Sato. Now since you know too much information you can join us or you can die." Naruto's and Kyuubi's blood boiled at the mention of Orochimaru. So that bastard is creating his own village. I need to take care of these fools quick, then look around for some information, he thought. Sorry, but I'm not interested in serving a pedo like Orochimaru. And with that said, Naruto created 4 clones to deal with the others while he took on the leader. He didn't even break a sweat against them and searched their bodies and taking one of their Hittite before burning the bodies. He created 200 clones and had them travel the country gathering any info they could. He traveled and ended up in a town that looked it was doing quite well. He ventured into a section called Fuma Alley, after a quick henge no jutsu into a 20-year-old version of himself. He walked into a club called Club Lie Down, and after spending some money coming up with nothing he left and turned into an alley. He saw that he was surrounded and looked on with a bored face at the apparent leader who had a Zanbato on his back. I suggest you hand over anything you have before we have to hurt you. My name is Fuma Hanzuki and this territory belongs to the Fuma clan, and since you're in it that means we own you as well, but we'll let you go. Just hand over the stuff, the man identified as Hanzuki said. Naruto just looked at the man and replied, no, then he smiled. Hanzuki just shook his head and said, I warned you, then charged at Naruto. Naruto just stood there charging chakra to his hands while he watched the man draw his Zanbato. He lifted it above his head then drew it down. What happened next shocked everyone but Naruto. Naruto caught the blade in his right chakra-covered hand, then punched Hanzuki right in the gut with his left chakra-covered hand and watched as he flew down the alley and was knocked out. Naruto looked around him and spoke to a girl who looked about 13. Am I correct in assuming you own the bar I came out of? She nodded, unable to speak. Good. Follow me and pick up your leader. We shall let him recover in there. I have a few questions to ask. And with that he walked up to her and put a hand on her cheek, looking her in the eyes. Did you get all that? She blushed and nodded, ordering the others to do as instructed. By the way, I didn't get your name. The girl responded, Fuma Kotoheim. He smiled at her, causing her to blush again, saying, That's a beautiful name, before he headed back to the club with her and the others behind him. Once Hanzuki regained consciousness, Naruto summoned Kotoheim into the room with them and closed the door, locking it and going through hand seals too fast for them to see, put up a privacy jutsu. Then he dropped his henge and turned to look at their stunned faces. This is the real me and I put up a privacy jutsu so no one can hear us. They both just nodded, both shocked that Hanzuki had been defeated so easily by a child younger than Kotoheim. Now I want information on what's been going on in this country, especially regarding Orochimaru and this new village of his, he said, then showed them the forehead protector. Hanzuki asked, Where did you get that from? Naruto looked at him with a serious face. On my way through this country I ran into 5 shinobi who wore these forehead protectors with a symbol I've never seen before. They told me they were looking for other shinobi to join them and their master. I asked who they serve and the name of the village. The leader of the group told me what I wanted to know, thinking he could scare me into joining the village or die knowing the information I had. That was foolish as I killed him and the others then burned their bodies before taking this Hittite and anything else valuable, he finished. Hanzuki and Kodoheim looked at the boy who just claimed killing 5 shinobi at least Chunin rank each like it was nothing, but with the look on his face knew it was true. Hanzuki sighed before starting. Well, it started 2 years ago when Orochimaru visited the daimyo of this country and somehow convinced him to let him build a hidden village that he named Otogakure no Sato, and with that Hanzuki with comments from Kodoheim told Naruto everything. How he convinced some members of the clan to join him to gain the power to rebuild the Fuma clan. When he ended he looked at Kodoheim who nodded back. There is one more thing, but it concerns the laws of our clan. When the leader is defeated by someone else, then that person becomes the new leader of the clan, and since I was the leader and you defeated me, that makes you the new head of the Fuma clan, he finished. Naruto pondered this. Well, this sure is an interesting predicament and a useful one, he thought. Hey Kyuheim, what do you think of Fizzes? And with that he explained his plans. Sounds like a good idea, Naru-kun, Kyuubi replied. He gave her a mental kiss on the lips that made her smile. Naruto opened his eyes and looked at them. Alright, if I am going to be the head of this clan, then I need to explain some things to you too, as you both will be in charge when I'm gone, with Hanzuki my second in command and you Kodoheim my third in command. My name is Namikaze Uzumaki Naruto, son of Konoha's Yondaime Hokage and Konoha's Red Death. Their names were Namikaze Minato and Uzumaki Kushina. My mother was the royal princess of the former Whirlpool Kingdom and part of my plans are to rebuild it. I was coming from there on my way through here. I also plan on killing Orochimaru for personal reasons. My first order is I want you to keep your eyes and ears open. I want information on what is happening, and I'll collect every month by sending a shadow clone who you'll give any information you have and tell him anything else. One of the benefits of the Kage Bunshin no Jutsu is anything it learns is transferred back to the original. I'll send one of my summons with the clone, and if you need to give me anything, give it to the summon and it will return to where I am. Also, the most important order I give is don't die. You two cannot tell anyone my full name or my heritage yet. I'll just go by Uzumaki Naruto for now. I'll spend a week here getting caught up on everything that you have been doing. Also, no more of this gang stuff. I'll give you some money that should last for a year, and then I'll send some with the clones later on till you guys can run on your own. They both just nodded. Kodoheim blushing, thinking how commanding he can be. Hanzuki was just glad they found someone who can help the clan with honest motives. Naruto left. Club lie down. After the week and after getting a kiss on each cheek by Kodoheim and a girl he met during the week he took a liking to as well by the name of Sasama, who was the same age as him, he left heading toward Lightning Country once more.